Oh, these people are claiming to know you, Your Ladyship.
Well, we didn't...
I know them both very well indeed. Are you dining here tonight, Anna?
We were.
So as we know, Downton Abbey 3 is set to drop on September 12th, 2025. But the big question is, what can we expect from this upcoming film? Well, one major theme we can anticipate is the Crawleys facing the challenges of the Great Depression, with their luxurious lifestyle hanging in the balance. There's a lot to unpack here, so grab a cup of tea or coffee and let's jump right into it. Downton Abbey has captured the hearts of audiences for years, thanks to its brilliant blend of history and fiction. Its classy early 20th century aesthetic, lavish wealth, and the ever-intriguing Crawley family tree have kept fans hooked through 6 seasons and 2 films. Now, with Downton Abbey 3 officially in production, the franchise is wrapping up with what's expected to be its final movie. For longtime viewers of the series and movies, this will undoubtedly be a thrilling and emotional conclusion. One of the reasons Downton Abbey has earned such acclaim is its seamless incorporation of historical events into the characters' lives. From the very first episode, which addressed the sinking of the Titanic in 1912, to its handling of World War I and the opulent Roaring Twenties, the series has consistently tied its fictional narrative to real-world history. As the story now moves into the 1930s, Downton Abbey 3 will once again dive into major historical moments, most likely including the Great Depression, adding depth and drama to the Crawleys' journey. Moreover, Downton Abbey 3 is set to take place in the 1930s, right when the Great Depression hit, and the timing of it all makes this clear. The previous film, Downton Abbey: A New Era, wrapped up in 1929, just before the Depression began, so it's only natural that the upcoming film will tackle this tragic and transformative period in history. This allows the movie to lean even further into historical accuracy, something Downton Abbey has always been praised for. While the filmmakers might take some creative liberties in depicting how much the Great Depression impacts a family as wealthy as the Crawleys, they'll likely stay true to the era, as the franchise has always strived for authenticity. In fact, the Downton Abbey films have been subtly preparing for this Great Depression since the first movie. Characters, particularly Lady Mary Crawley, have voiced concerns about whether their grand estate could survive in the rapidly changing world. But now, the stakes are higher than ever. It's one thing to worry about being perceived as outdated, but it's an entirely different challenge to face a financial crisis as devastating as the Depression, which could threaten the Crawleys' lifestyle and their very way of life. The Great Depression sparked a massive financial crisis, not only in the US but in the UK as well, and given that Downton Abbey is based in England, with the Crawleys even having family ties to the US, the economic downturn will likely take a toll on everyone. The Crawleys might have to say goodbye to their lavish lifestyle, including their fine clothing, extravagant meals, and grand events, much like many real wealthy families did during that time. Though the Crawleys are fictional, their story is inspired by a real aristocratic family, which means they could face similar challenges. Perhaps the most heartbreaking aspect of this looming financial struggle is the potential impact on the staff, who have long been a central part of the series and are beloved by fans. If the Crawleys can no longer afford to keep their servants, many of whom rely on their jobs for survival, it could mean a grim future for those working at Downton Abbey. Finding new employment during such a tough time would be incredibly difficult, especially since other families might also be cutting costs and laying off their own staff. While the Crawleys may somehow manage to scrape by without their wealth and the luxuries they've grown accustomed to, the same cannot be said for their employees. The fate of these characters, who have become just as important to the story as the Crawleys themselves, will be one of the most emotional elements of Downton Abbey 3. If the Crawleys can no longer afford their luxurious lifestyle or staff, they might even face the possibility of losing Downton Abbey itself. After all, the estate is more like a castle than a typical home, and keeping up with its maintenance during the Great Depression would be a massive financial burden. When middle-class families struggled to keep their homes, it's easy to imagine how hard it would be for the Crawleys to maintain such a grand estate while still paying for basic necessities, which had skyrocketed in price at the time. Despite their wealth, the Crawleys' fortune isn't endless, and Downton Abbey 3 being confirmed as the final movie suggests that things could take a more somber turn. One of the most heartbreaking aspects of this potential downfall is the uncertainty it brings to the Crawley family's future, especially for Lady Mary, the legal heir. Downton Abbey has long symbolized safety and stability, and it was always assumed that Lady Mary's children would grow up there, enjoying the same security their family has known for generations. If the Crawleys are forced to leave the estate, this guarantee of a stable future could vanish, throwing the family's prospects into doubt. Without Downton Abbey, Lady Mary's children might not experience the same comfort or promise of wealth, which would be a dramatic shift from what we've seen so far in the series. With the Great Depression looming over them, the Crawleys may find themselves on the brink of a significant loss, both financially and emotionally. As viewers, we're left to wonder, will the family manage to survive this turbulent time, or could Downton Abbey 3 end with them losing everything? The release date has been set for September 12, 2025, and until then, we can only speculate about how the story will unfold. Historically, the odds are not in their favor, but there's always a glimmer of hope that the Crawleys and their beloved staff will find a way to weather the storm. And one thing's for sure, no matter how it ends, Downton Abbey 3 is bound to deliver a fitting conclusion for the Crawleys, their staff, and the grand house that has been at the heart of their story. Lastly, one big question remains. How will Downton Abbey 3 compare to the previous two movies? The Downton Abbey films have set a high bar, continuing the legacy of the beloved TV series with great success. The first movie, released in 2019, was met with widespread acclaim from both critics and audiences. It impressed many with how Julian Fellowes and director Michael Engler seamlessly adapted the show's rich storytelling and complex characters into a feature film format. With an 84% critic score and a 94% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, the first movie resonated deeply with its fan base, bringing in a remarkable $194.7 million at the global box office. Following this, Downton Abbey: A New Era built on that foundation and managed to score even higher with critics, achieving 87% on Rotten Tomatoes, while its audience score climbed to an impressive 97%. Director Simon Curtis was praised for his handling of the sequel, which allowed audiences to revisit the charm of the Crawley family once again. Despite the glowing reviews, A New Era didn't quite match the box office success of its predecessor, pulling in $92.7 million, likely due to the lingering effects of the COVID pandemic. Now, with Downton Abbey 3 set to be the final chapter in the Crawley family saga, it has the potential to perform even better. Fellowes is once again behind the script, and Curtis is returning as director, ensuring the film is in capable hands. Plus, with its release scheduled for a time when theaters have mostly rebounded, it's possible that Downton Abbey 3 will outperform its predecessor at the box office. With the promise of this being the final installment, fans are eagerly anticipating how the story will come to a close. Will it live up to the legacy of the series and previous films? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure. The Crawleys' last bow will be something fans won't want to miss. What do you think? Will Downton Abbey 3 be able to surpass the success of the first two films? Or will it take a different direction with the Great Depression and the family's future on the line? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And that's that for today's video. Thank you so much for watching our video today, and we will see you in our next video.